Hello. You've ever wondered why all the local economic stuff seems to be impossible to fix, whether or not you're Sohram Mamdani or something else? Yeah, you can do what the DSA is doing in New York. We'll see if it continues to do it by scaring the governor into actually helping Mamdani, which is good. But we still have the problem of the bond market that hasn't gone away, although having local gubernatorial and maybe even legislative support, if they get it, will definitely help mitigate that. But I want you to think about why I talked about the bond market, because the bond market, even for a city like New York, is an international problem, not just a national one, not just a municipal one, not just a state one. It's an international problem because international investors get into that bond market, which means even if 80% of them are going to domestic or even local um, bondholders, they still tied into international law. Furthermore, you want to deal with why something can't happen, from dealing with student loans, which uh, are now being sold as a crisis. They kind of are for a lot of people, but there is some complications there. To dealing with medical stuff, which we are now even allowing the for private system to fall apart by making it hard to even get uh, material aid for people to become doctors and nurses and etc. You're seeing a thoroughly undoing of both the neoliberalization of the Fortis infrastructure and the Fortis infrastructure itself. But it all follows down to geopolitical concerns. And yet you go, why? Is this about power? Yeah, but it's about power that still serves market, because war is racket and racket is for business. And while that's way oversimplified, sometimes the vulgar expression is the true one. After all, vulgar Marxism, as talked about by Edward Varn, was even invented by Marxist academics. And the phrase was a term of repute against Marxist academics who were trying to build a way to teach this stuff to common people. I say all this to make it very abundantly clear. Money means following geopolitics, but following geopolitics actually you start following larger sums of money. Because why can't you do all this? Well, because the bourgeoisie want access to bigger markets. These corporations want to grow. They have forces larger than the forces of many mid-sized states. And by states, I mean nations, and nation states, not just uh, states in the United States. So when you look at this and deal with this, you start going, okay, so how do I get out of this situation? Because most social democratic and frankly, even most other Marxist strategies, a lot of Marxist follow save and pray to the same problem, will be to say, well, you have to do this realist collaboration with X, but don't point out when that leads to failure down the road because they couldn't have done anything else. Well, that doesn't actually make that much sense, because why does pointing it out change the fact that it couldn't have been any other way if that's the line of causality? The reason why they can't do that is because no nation on earth has everything they need to run a modern economy. In fact, that's never, even hunter-gatherer bands had to exchange between other hunter-gatherer bands from time to time. The powers and needs of scale change things. They change. That's when a quality becomes a difference. Excuse me, I misstated that. That's when a difference of quantity becomes a difference of quality, because the scale changes things. So as you look around the world and you go, why can't we do this? Probably because the US military needs it to happen. Well, that doesn't need to happen. Well, because we need some resource, or we need to keep our currency as part of Forex so that we can maintain a fiat currency that can buy stuff from overseas, because we've broken up our supply lines internationally. Why do we break up our supply lines internationally? to make production cheaper. Why do we need to make production cheaper? Part of it was because we wanted to increase the power of the dollar. You see all these circular things start to appear as you go through this. Follow the money means following geopolitics, but following geopolitics means following the larger structures of money. Not just in this person's getting rich, or who's getting this business deal. That stuff happens and it's very real, but that doesn't explain to you everything that you need to know. No, why do you have to keep the dollar stronger? What is doing that? Why is international competition between nation states zero sum in the way that it's not between individual peoples who are sometimes in those nation states or even in different nation states? Like, I can benefit and help someone from, I don't know, even China benefit, but our nations probably both can't. Figure out those structures. And a lot of you figure out those structures only to make excuses for failure. Great. Good. You know what? If you do that, you'll just fail. You're not learning from the failure. You're making excuses from the failure. Follow the money so you can start to win. Over and out.